Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Model Railroad Adventures with Bill. So what I've been doing since the last episode is I've put plywood down to start roughing out the location of the On30 layout. Now I did put a bunch of scrap lumber under the plywood to kind of build up the height so that I am not resting on my track. And it's kind of hard to see, but I've got clearance all the way around it, so I'm not damaging any of the O-scale layout that's down there. So it is Sunday afternoon, and I'm about done for the weekend. It's cold outside, otherwise I'd be outside doing some cutting. But let's kind of walk through what I'm going to do with the On30. So first off, this is zero elevation for the On30. This is what I'm going to use as my reference point. This is going to be a good 8 inches taller than the tabletop, so that there's plenty of room underneath for the O scale. I can still get my hands in, whatever I need. So zero elevation is table plus 8, roughly, to the bottom of this. And then the thickness of the plywood roadbed, and then there's going to be some cork and other stuff on it with the track. So what I've used is scrap HO scale track just to kind of lay out what the track plan is going to be. I do have my On30 switches in use, so how it's going to be is zero elevation. So this area right through here, right in through here and up to about there is all going to be at the zero elevation. It's all going to be staying put. A little bit of a passing track, little engine escape can come in here, do a little switching. This is going to be a log dump kind of off this way. Like this will be an area for a mill, just kind of off the layout. A little area, where I can get an engine in, get the cars backed in, etc. Maybe a locomotive service area, maybe a little offloading ramp. Don't know yet. Coming back over here, it starts to go up in elevation from here. It's going to go under this track, but it's going to go across. It's going to do a large loop around on that section of the layout. Come back over here. Then I do have one switch here, which is going to have a siding going into like a logging camp. So this is all going to be very hilly, mountainous terrain in here, lots of trees, lots of stuff. This elevation will stay, flat for this siding, kind of going in and around. This is going to be higher than this elevation, so, some hills. I'm going to be able to do quite a bit with it. Continues to climb, goes over the track, keeps going up, up until about here. This is going to be roughly 13 inches above the table top. So 13 inches above zero elevation. It's going to go from there. It's going to kind of swing around. It's going to do kind of a large loop and then go underneath the elevated track or the upper track there and then come back to zero elevation. I did take some wire and laid it out from about the midpoint of the switch and just kind of ran it around over to here. And I think I found it was something like about a 24-foot run with 14. If I did 14 inches, it gives me about a 6% grade. And it's a narrow gauge. It's in mountains, 6% with the engines. You know what? It's okay. Going from that point back to this right there. That point is a little bit longer. It's like about 29 feet, so about 5.5% grade. Should be fine. It will work out pretty well. The lines that you see are where I'm going to be doing my cuts. The red lines are the actual cut lines. I'm going to be able to take this curve and I'm going to be able to bring it out a little bit farther and sweep it around and over. This track that's laid out right here is 18-inch sectional track. And yeah, some of the curves are going to be 18 inches. I'm going to try to widen them out where I can so that I get a little bit more of a sweep. The curve that are over here, this is all 22-inch sectional track. It fit pretty well on that particular piece of plywood because I had my 24-inch track, the subroadbed cut from it. So, it worked out pretty well. I could do the 22-inch on the inside and I'll be fine. These areas right in here, once I do the offcuts over here, I'll be able to cut them to size, and then I just need a filler piece, coming from like roughly here over to about there, and then just some pieces there. Same thing over there, where I'm crossing the seam between the tables. That will be a seam on the plywood as well. I'll be able to come in, add bracing that can go up and across and then down so that I can support everything through here. It should work out pretty well. So next thing on this will be cut plywood, and I'll start using lumber and getting it to elevation. This particular video will take a while. It is extremely cold in Richmond. It's not going to warm up for days. So between this segment and the next segment is probably going to be 3 or 4 days before the temperatures are warm enough that I get an opportunity to open up the garage door, take it outside, and cut it. But until then, we'll see what happens. So it's Tuesday evening, just about an hour after work. Sun is set, but still light enough. So I went outside and I cut the plywood. It is still cold. It's like about 46, but compared to how it had been the past week, it felt like spring. And tomorrow's going to be warmer, so I'm going to be cutting risers then. But I wanted to get it done before the big winter storm that is forecast to pound the Midwest brings copious amounts of rain to the Virginia area. So everything is cut for the most part. I've still got extra pieces I need to cut to kind of complete over on that side and get rid of the materials I was using just to kind of protect the track. Now that it's light, I'm not too worried about laying the sections on it. Everything is cut, so I can start to build. I will start right here at my 0 elevation area. I will figure out how I'm going to do risers. Should be able to get one in right here, and then like a little cross piece that'll support there. I can put a riser here, and then another one here, and then sort of a diagonal that'll support this and still give me clearance for the O-scale trains. Now, and then I can come over here and I can do this area because it's at the same elevation, and then get that little piece worked in as well. So I've got an eBay purchase that came in today. So these are 2 of the O-scale freight cars I bought in a 5-car lot. Not really that much money, less than $5, or not $5, less than $10 per car. The Great Northern here is in pretty good shape. Just need to get a new truck for it and a coupler, and I got couplers. This one's a little bit rougher, but I can get trucks for it, make sure the couplers work, and weather it, and it will be fine. But 3 of the cars in the purchase are road ready. So an older Pennsylvania with truss, newer, quasi-newer Pennsylvania, and then a Pennsylvania auto carrier. Each of these need a little bit of touch-up and some weathering. Like on this one, it's supposedly a metal car, but it's got a wood roof, it's got some marks. Perfect spots for rust. And some detailing on it with chalks, and then dull coat to kill that sheen. Same thing over on this car. You can see the roof is highly reflective. I could kill the sheen with that, but these cars, whoops, and of course I pulled one right off the track already. There we go. Yeah, that works. So once I get this stuff up, and I'll give the tracks just a short wipe. I will bring out my Pennsylvania F unit that I've got sitting up there, because it's already got the KD couplers on it, and give these a workout. I've got some more cars that are coming, so I've got enough cars for my train here, and then I've still got a variety of the other cars. That one I got to get trucks for, and some of them that I've been running, which I'll convert to trucks, and new couplers and some weight. So I've got plenty of freight already for this. Anyway, next one I'll be a little farther along. I should be starting to get some risers in a little bit later this week. So I'll show everybody a quick trick that I use that may work for some other folks. You know, as you're setting your grades on the layout, and you know where your sub road bed is going to be. Mine is still kind of jumbled. You know, I know where basic things are. I've got another pile of stuff for cuts to kind of finish up with it. But I know that this place right here is going to be my maximum elevation, which is going to be 12 inches above my zero elevation. Zero elevation is going to be 8 inches above the benchwork. So, you know, I'm going to have some pretty high tracks running on this part of the layout. Again, it's going to be mountain scenery, very rugged. So what I did is I took some of the string and I ran the string so that it ended right about in the middle of there. Ran a string loop around and brought it through and then over the tracks to my zero elevation point here where the grade starts to go up. Then what I did is I took that piece of string and I folded it essentially in half and then marked the string with one of the markers. Then I ran that from there back around until I got to the halfway point that was on the string, which is right here. And since I'm going to have 6 inches of elevation above my zero elevation, you know, I just kind of wrote on it 6, and you can see the string's got the mark. So I know this is essentially the halfway point between high and low. And what I did is I took the string and cut it at this point and then folded it in half again and marked it. That's actually what is on here is the mark that shows the halfway point. So that I could take the string then and run it backwards over to about there. That's 3 inches of elevation above zero elevation. If I go this direction, again, I'll run the string and I've got a piece that's still missing, but it actually works out that it's just before where it starts to go up. So I'll have a fairly high trestle going over that particular trestle that's just starting its climb up. I did the same thing over on this side of the layout. Base elevation 0 here. I ran the string around and it gets me to a point that's right here is where my 6 inches above zero elevation will be. Split the string again, went backwards. There's my 3-inch elevation. Then going forwards, there is my 9-inch elevation. And then I know that right there is going to be 12-inch. So just kind of a quick way so that I know where my set points need to be. And that's what I'm going to be using to establish my initial grades, is putting additional cross pieces in here and then bringing those up and then adding additional just to make sure everything's stable. This area over here will be 8 inches above the table. This will be 8 inches above as well. I've got some boards in there that I'll be cutting so that I can start to establish those, and then I can work my way around. So just kind of a quick, kind of dirty way, it gets you close. And by calculating out my rise over run, I will have roughly a 5.4 grade on the layout, which, again, it is narrow gauge. It's going through the mountains. Small trains should not be a problem for the equipment that I'm going to be running, so it should be kind of fun. So this will be the last segment on this video. It's long enough. I got 2 more freight cars in today. Again, both are road ready. Got them off eBay. Some of the cars that I've been getting have been birthday presents birthday a while back, and got eBay cards. What better way to spend them than on railroad stuff? So I've been working, and I've got base 0 elevation for the like lumber yard, little service area in place. Plenty of room underneath to get access to the O scale. And when I'm all done and I put fascia on this, I think I'll probably leave access ports in here. Maybe get fancy and do like a little slide door, but just so I don't have to crawl under as much, but I can just reach in, and a lot of room in here to get around, and I can get access to everything underneath. I have some gluing going on to get the matching piece here, which will, even though it's not quite set right, you can kind of see it's going to be right on the seam for where the two tables meet, so that's good. On this side, got just a little extension put in, gluing up, and this is just where that one long track kind of comes this way before it switches into where the log dump is going to be, and that will be definitely a feature I'm going to put in. Seen a pretty cool picture in a book on Appalachian logging showing that, so that ought to be an interesting little feature that's at a good height. Got a tape measure sitting there, so my maximum height is going to be 12 inches above 0 elevation. So this is 12 inches above 0 elevation. So, that takes into account there'll be, plywood and other stuff, but still I'm going to have a significant, and this is, I'm 6'2", and I'm looking down at it. This is, 5 foot something right here. That's track level. Mountains are in some areas going to go quite a bit higher, and then I will have a seam divide cutting across on top, made out of masonite. So this is going to be fairly impressive scenery on this once I get to that point. I'm looking at from the bottom of that deepest gorge to probably the highest mountains, a good 4 feet, if not more, difference in elevation. I'm going to have some fun once I get to the scenery piece. But right now, I'm going to be working on getting my basic risers in place on my key points, and then finessing and massaging the different pieces of plywood to get everything else in place. But it's going to be a rainy weekend, so I'm going to try to get stuff cut tomorrow, which will be Thursday. Hopefully it's not raining here before late in the day. I might have a window of opportunity after work to come out and get a bunch of riser material cut and go from there. But anyway, that's it for this one. Keep having fun on your layouts. Until next time.